On the MTN 430 News, inside a violent night, one man is dead outside of Billings. Plus, the race is on. We'll have the latest on the U.S. House, how it looks to select its new speaker, and glowing in popularity.
I've been a rock hound all my life. My grandpa was a big inspiration in my life, and he was a rock hound and a fisherman, so that's where it started, and I grew it into a business eventually over time.
We're on the hunt, not for animals, but unique gemstones. The MTN News starts right now. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight on the 430 News. I'm Andrea Lutz. A violent night erupting across Yellowstone County. One man is dead after being shot by deputies near Ballantyne. That's where we start tonight, a deputy-involved shooting. It happened around 11:30, and Yellowstone County deputies went to an address on South 28th Road near Ballantyne to arrest a man on a warrant issued from another Montana county. When they arrived, one deputy noticed the man was armed with a handgun. He exited the home and then fired in their direction. One of the deputies returning fire, striking the man and killing him at the scene. The shooting is under investigation by the Sheriff's Office Detective Division and the Coroner's Office. Both deputies have been placed on leave. We want to let you know that we reached out to Sheriff Mike Linder, but he says no other details will be released today. The race is on to replace Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House, with members aiming for a vote as early as next week. House Judiciary Chair Jim Jordan of Ohio, an ally of former President Trump, believes he can unite his party, as does House Majority Leader Steve Scalise of Louisiana. Scalise is currently undergoing treatment for cancer. He says he has a track record of leading the GOP party. The final name in the race right now, Oklahoma's Kevin Herm. House Republicans are expected to hold a candidate forum next Tuesday, while hoping to vote by the middle of next week. The House can't take any further action until a new House Speaker is selected. And meanwhile, top U.S. leaders are in Mexico City, concerned over the drug and gun trafficking and illegal immigration that's happening. When it comes to drugs, the big concern is the amount of fentanyl that's coming across the U.S. border. The Biden administration is also under increasing pressure to do more to slow migrant arrivals.
All week we've been talking about the chilly start we're expecting on Friday, and that still seems to be the situation. Could be looking at the coldest temperatures some of us have seen all season, at least to this point. The weekend warm up still on track, but some changes are also in store as we start getting into next week. We could see a return to some wetter weather, especially as we get to around Wednesday and Thursday. Details on the forecast coming up in just a few minutes from now.
The governor's office says Montana has met its annual state land timber production target. According to the governor's office, more than 13,000 acres of state trust land are under active management. The fiscal year 2023, and the Department of Natural Resources and Conservation sold 52 million board feet of timber, generating $8 million in revenue for Montana schools and institutions. State trust land represents 4% of statewide timber ownership and consistently contributes up to 20% of Montana's total timber production. If you're up for an adventure in Montana's Badlands, you may be met with a shiny reward. For this week's Out and About, MTN's Jackie Coffin takes us to Fallon, where a unique gemstone is glowing in popularity.
Out and About is sponsored by Blue Creek Storage at Shorey.
Here on the Yellowstone between Fallon and Terry, and today we're going hunting. Not for animals, but for agates. They're a gemstone you'll find all along the banks of this river that attract rockhounds far and wide to eastern Montana. From first thaw to when the snow flies, Captain Eddie White can be found on the banks of the Yellowstone River hunting for treasure.
I've been a rock hound all my life. My grandpa was a big inspiration in my life, and he was a rock hound and a fisherman, so that's where it started, and I grew it into a business eventually over time.
A gemstone formed by Yellowstone's volcanic activity, Montana moss agates are not regular rocks.
Well, this is one of the only free-flowing rivers in the United States. So that in itself is pretty special. But also, this is the only place in the United States that you can find this specific kind of agate.
And White helps agate admirers from all over the country comb the banks of the Yellowstone River for the treasure hiding in plain sight.
It's definitely worth cutting and seeing what's inside.
Building a unique outfitting business with a growing demand.
My business has been nuts. I've had people come from all over the country to go on agate hunts, and it's been awesome. I meet a lot of great people, and it's a lot of fun.
Letting me join their trip today are Jared Reddish and Alicia Dreemeyer from Lewistown, avid rockhounds who are on their third trip with White.
I found my first Montana moss agate with Eddie, and I was so excited. It was so cool.
Looking for access to hard-to-reach areas of the Yellowstone River.
There are a few spots for public access, and there's actually an app you can download. But there are actually a lot more rock hounds out there than you'd expect. And so a lot of those places are picked over. If you can go out with Eddie as a guided trip, he'll take you to spots where you're guaranteed to find quite a few.
As much as White enjoys collecting his own agates, the fun for him is helping others learn what to look for.
Looking at the size, and then you're looking for fracture lines on the outside. The less fractures, the better the rock.
The treasure revealed through sunlight and a rinse in the river, turning out agates for adornment, jewelry, sell, and trade.
A lot of people take them, they put them in their gardens, they put them in their houses. I personally take them and I cut them, I polish them.
We plan on polishing them and maybe cutting them someday.
Agate hunting for anyone who enjoys a walk along the river and has an eye for beauty.
A majority of the enjoyment is when somebody picks a rock up and has a smile on their face.
Near Fallon, Jackie Coffin, MTN News.
Still ahead on the MTN 430 News here at Q2. Packed gyms on Friday night are nothing new, but it's even more special when that crowd is not only behind a team, but a really good cause. We'll dive into the history behind Pack the Place in Pink. And the border, there's a surge of migrants that continue to come over the U.S.-Mexico border. We're going to look into the solutions to ease the strain on some cities. Stay with us.